Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and enjoy this fanfic part 1. Now let's start the fanfic. The sounds of a teacher eager to leave and reach home and students even more eager to enjoy their holidays came. Almost all the students chatted amongst each other in groups, excitedly discussing their plans to spend their vacation. Amidst all the students enthusiastically chatting, almost no one paid attention to the lone student quietly gathering his things and leaving the class. His name was Thomas Kane. He was the son of a wealthy industrialist. Shipped off to boarding school at a young age and with two older brothers who outshined in everything they did and deemed as prodigies by everyone, Thomas didn't have the motivation to excel in anything. Even though he was above average in IQ and could easily attain top marks in all subjects, his scores in studies were average due to his lack of motivation. During the first few months of boarding school, he tried to make friends. He managed to make a few, but after a short while he figured out they only became friends mostly due to the fact that he came from a wealthy family. He cut ties with them and then found the task of making friends tedious and tiresome. He was smart enough to not make himself a social outcast. He made neither friends nor enemies. He maintained an average score. He had an everyday ordinary life. But there were two things in life he loved: chess and comics. He was very good at chess. Predicting his opponent's moves from the start and outsmarting them by a wide margin was one of his favorite ways to win the game. As he played more and more, he got really good at it. He also played poker with his brothers whenever they would come to visit. He couldn't beat them, but each time they played he learned a couple of his tells that would give him away. So with each game he got a little bit better at trying to control his emotions from showing on his face. He wanted to learn to make the perfect poker face. The second thing in life he loved was comics, manga and anime. He loved them. The stories they tell. The characters they portray. It brought him endless joy reading and watching their adventures. He was a hardcore fan. He spent his days in his apartment alone reading all kinds of comics and mangas he could get his hands on. He fell in love with them from a young age. He enjoyed reading about the different adventures and he often imagined what it would be like if he were in that world. He left the school and reached his apartment building after about a 15 minutes walk. His apartment was situated on the third floor. The apartment was a modest one, comfortable for a single person. He started climbing the stairs. And as he reached the second floor, he suddenly began to feel dizzy. His hands suddenly grabbed onto the side rails to steady himself. He felt like the world was spinning around him. Wow, what the hell? After a few moments, the vertigo he was feeling slowly disappeared. Oh, man, I must be more tired and hungry than I thought. He slowly started to walk and he reached his apartment doors. Hey, Tommy. Thomas heard the voice of his neighbor. He turned around and saw an old man with a white beard wearing round glasses and a deerstalker hat standing behind him. Hey, Mr. Mark. How you doing? Fine, kid. Was just gonna go out for groceries. Oh, and I got a package delivered with your name. Thomas's eyes widened excitedly. It's finally here. Yeah, it's something I ordered from overseas. It's a new comic book series that's recently released. I can't wait to read it. His eager anticipation could be heard in his voice. You really love those books, don't you? Old man Mark said with a good-humored voice. Hold on, I'll get them for you. The old man turned around and walked back to his apartment and Thomas took out his keys and opened the doors to his home. The old man came back holding a brown package box. Thomas was about to grab the package box when the vertigo he was feeling earlier came back. The feeling was more intense this time. As Thomas was falling down and blacking out, the last thing he heard was the scared shouts of old man Mark. When Thomas regained consciousness and opened his eyes, he realized he was in a hospital room. He saw the hospital gown he was wearing and he could smell the antiseptics lingering in the air. He tilted his head to the side and saw old man Mark sitting beside him in a chair slowly nodding off. Mr. Mark. Thomas's voice woke up the old man with a startle and he looked at the boy lying on the bed. Oh my God. Tommy, you woke up. Hold on, I'll get the doctor. He rushed outside to find the doctor. He returned shortly afterward, and behind him came a man in his late 40s wearing a doctor's coat. "Hello, Thomas. I'm Dr. Phillips." The man introduced himself. Thomas nodded to him. "You were brought in unconscious and we did a workup of your blood and did an MRI and it isn't good. Son, you have stage 3 brain cancer and it's progressing quickly. We need to start treatment right away." Thomas couldn't hear anything else. His whole body went numb. He felt as if his whole world was breaking apart. "How bad is it?" he asked with a low voice. "It's really serious. Even with treatment, I am afraid you won't have much time," the doctor replied with a serious tone. Seeing the distraught look on the boy, the doctor decided to give him some time to digest the news. "I'll give you two some time. I'll be in my office if you need me," said the doctor, and he left the room. "Tommy, I called your parents. They're flying over. They'll be here tomorrow. You're gonna get through this," Old Man Mark said, holding Tommy's hand. I don't." Thomas didn't know what to say or even think. He felt like he was suffocating. All he could hear was the heart that was pounding in his chest. "I need some air," he said while slowly getting up. "Tommy, Mr. Mark, I need a moment. I'd like some time alone now, please." Old Man Mark looked at him with concern and then nodded. "I'll wait outside." He slowly left the room. Thomas went to a window and looked outside. It was nighttime, and yet the outside was still buzzing with activity. Tears slowly fell down from his eyes. But he didn't make a single sound. He spent the next few minutes just standing there and looking outside with tears running down his face. He then slowly looked at himself and then around the room. He saw his school uniform folded on a nearby table. "Screw this. I'm not staying here." He felt angry and ripped off the gown he was wearing. "I gotta get outta here." He quickly put on his school uniform and left the room. When Mark saw him leaving in his uniform, he was bewildered. "Tommy, where are you going?" he asked. "Out for a walk." That was the only reply he got. Mark got up from his chair. "It's too dangerous. You need to stay here." Thomas didn't reply and took off running. He reached the entrance of the hospital and quickly left the place. He didn't know where he was running to. After a few minutes, he reached what looked like a park. He slowed down and came near a bench. Thomas sat down and felt his whole body quivering. Since it was nighttime, there wasn't anybody around. He started whimpering and cried again. This time small sobs started coming out. Thomas sat there crying for some time. He was in denial, but it soon turned to anger. "Damn it! Damn it! Damn it!" He clenched his fists and gritted his teeth. "Damn it, Thomas! Get a grip. Don't let this be your end," he shouted to himself. He quieted down soon after and slowly calmed himself. He was startled when he felt water drops slowly falling on his face. He realized it was starting to rain. Just as he was about to get up from his bench, he saw a shadow moving in between the two trees in front of him. In any other circumstances he wouldn't have cared, but this time, curiosity got the better of him and he started walking slowly towards the two trees. He looked down and saw a fat black cat with golden eyes. Thomas felt as if the eyes of the cat were shining in the dark night. Strong winds started blowing and the rain was getting heavier and heavier by the second. It was as if a giant storm had engulfed the city. Both the boy and cat were staring at each other as the rain continued to pour down on them. Thomas didn't know why or for what reason, but he decided to pick up the black cat and go home. He didn't know why, but when he looked into its eyes, he felt as if he was being judged by something far more intelligent than him. He went near the chubby black cat and gently picked it up and slowly started walking and went to the nearest street to call a cab. As he was standing there by the side of the road, soaked in the heavy rain, he suddenly heard a small explosion. He looked and saw scraps of a tire flying everywhere and a car out of control speeding toward him. Oh no! His eyes widened, and before he could even move to get out of the way, the car was right in front of him. The cat in his arms jumped away right before the car sent him flying. He flew back a good 10 feet in the air before touching the pavement. He tumbled a few times on the ground and came to a stop. He could feel the blood flowing out of him and his consciousness slowly fading away. The last thing he saw was the black cat coming towards him and touching his hand with its paw and its golden eyes peering into his own. Am I alive or dead? What is this place? How long have I been here? Then I heard a voice in my head. You have obtained the right to become a player. Do you accept? Become a player. Accept. What's happening to me? What does it matter? I'll be dead soon anyway. Your time remaining is limited. Should you refuse, your heart will stop in 3 seconds. Do you accept? Whether or not this was a hallucination, Thomas was certain of one thing. His impending death. 2 seconds. At this point, Thomas gave himself up to resignation. He wanted to live, to have a second chance at the life that was taken from him. 1 second. I wanna live. I accept. He couldn't move his lips and utter those words, but he screamed them in his mind. And then a voice answered. Welcome, player. Suddenly something started to change. Wait a minute. What's this feeling? It's as if I'm in a dream and trying desperately to open my eyes. Come on, wake up. Damn it, wake up. Suddenly my eyes opened in a snap. The first thing I saw was a blue box floating in front of me. You have slept in a bed. HP, CP and SP have been fully restored. What the FCK? I looked around in a daze and found that I was lying on a bed in a room that was definitely not mine. When I saw a window at the end of the room, I stood up from my bed and went to look. The view that greeted me was something I couldn't prepare for. 4 majestic faces adorned a mountain with the sun slowly rising from behind. I quickly realized that what I was looking at was in fact the Hokage mountain. I did a double take and then, what the F***CK? That was my first reaction after realizing that I was in the Naruto universe. As I looked at the Hokage mountain and then to the rest of the Leaf Village, I could hear my breathing quicken. My heart started pounding in my chest. My hands trembling from the realization that I had somehow been reborn into a fictional world. A world filled with dangers as well as opportunities. Biological sciences. What the hell? Why? How? Who? Taking a deep breath, I tried to calm myself. Okay. Calm down, Thomas. No need to panic. And then I remembered all the threats that would plague the world. Orochimaru, Akatsuki, Madara, Zetsu, Kagaya and beyond. Okay. Small reason to panic. As I was standing there near the window freaking out, a calmness suddenly washed over me. I felt as if everything would be alright. Wow. What was that? I brought my hand to my chest and felt my beating heart. The heart that was rapidly beating earlier was now in a calm state. Okay man, pull yourself together. Think this through. What's the last thing you remember? I asked myself. I went through my memory searching for answers. I remember now. Old man Mark. Hospital. My incurable disease. The park. The cat and then the car that rammed into me. As the memories of my death flashed in my mind, I couldn't help becoming a little sad. Okay, if I was in an accident, shouldn't I be in the hospital right now? Or am I hallucinating and I'm really in a coma and this is my brain's way of helping me cope? Okay, think. What else happened? Then the memories of the black void rushed to the forefront of my mind. I in a deep cold breath of air as I recalled the moments I spent in the darkness, and of the voice that spoke to me. Biological sciences. I remember someone saying I was selected, and to accept. What was the last thing they said? Then I suddenly recalled the last words spoken by that mysterious voice. Welcome, player. Those words quietly left my lips. I suddenly looked towards the bed and then remembered the blue box notification that was in front of me. It had disappeared, but I could clearly recall what was written inside the box. You have slept in a bed. HP, CP and SP have been fully restored. I quietly said to myself. That's definitely what I saw. I've only seen that happen to one person. And that too in a comic. The gamer. Wait a minute, if that notification appeared in front of me, does that make me a gamer? That can't be. It's impossible. I suddenly stopped and looked outside. I saw the village that woke up and the increasingly bustling street. And then I looked to the Hokage mountain. my eyes carefully observing every inch of the four faces. I put my hands on the windowsill and felt the texture of the worn-out wood against my skin. Then I pinched my cheeks with both hands. I definitely feel pain. Feels all too real. I recalled everything that happened to me a second time. After letting out a deep breath, I came to a conclusion. This is either a hallucination and I'm in a coma, or this is my second chance. All the evidence points me to the latter. And I want to believe it is such. Then the calmness that washed over me earlier must be the ability, gamer's mind. The skill to keep calm in all situations. Then is it possible that I have the gamer's body as well? Need to confirm later. After coming to the realization that this was most probably my second chance, a smile slowly bloomed on my face. In the Naruto world with a gamer ability, this will definitely be interesting. But what should be my goal? As I pondered on this question, an image of Naruto and Sasuke fighting in the final valley at their strongest appeared. It excited me to know that someone with the right tools could become that strong in this world. But at the same time, I also remembered the dangers and threats hiding in the shadows. Both threats from inside the village and outside. My first and most important priority is to survive this kill or be killed world. If anyone finds out about my origin or memories or my gamer's body, then I'll end up in prison, dead or worse, on an experiment table. Definitely can't let that happen. Alright, I need information first. Then training and increasing my strength. When I'm ready, I'll stand at the top of this era. And make the whole world know my name. That's gonna be another of my goals. And I definitely have the best tool with me. I'm gonna give it my all and reach the top. Sorry Naruto, Sasuke. But I'll be taking the spot of the world's strongest from you guys. I was excited and was going to open the gamer status page, but before I could, I heard a voice and several knocks on the door to my room. Daichi, are you awake in there? Since I'm the only one in the room, then that means Daichi must be my name in this world. Yes, I'm awake, I quickly answered. The door opened and a brown-haired boy in his late teens came to a stop in front of me. He had a round face, slim build and light brown eyes, and was wearing a smile on his face. Have you only gotten up just now? You haven't even changed. Don't you know how special today is? He asked me in a teasing voice. New memories came to the forefront of my mind. These must be the memories of this body before I inhabited it. No, based on what I understand from the system message, my soul is the same as that of my previous life, and the memories of that life were just temporarily sealed. I'm the same person as before. Or at least my soul is. Well, it's a good thing to know I'm not some soul parasite that just took over an innocent kid's body. So my name's Daichi Hekima. I am now 5 years old. My parents died in the Nine Tails attack. That's a bummer. Currently living in an orphanage. And today is my birthday, March 28th. And the kid who just came was called Jozu. A genin who helps out here. And the matron is a woman in her late 50s named Aiko. Death and tragedy. Okay. Guess that's the when and where, and I've already deduced the how. Guess that will have to do for now. Better get ready and get down there before the timer runs out. Having the gamer's mind definitely comes in handy. Otherwise, I'd be freaking out right now. As I freshened up and was getting out of my sleepwear, my mind pondered on why the matron would call me so early in the morning today. Whatever it is, I have to be ready, I thought to myself. Putting on some fresh clothes, I stepped out of the room and headed for the office. As I went to the office, I experienced a sense of déjà vu. I was walking down the hall for the first time, but it felt as if I've walked them my whole life. A surreal experience. As I reached the door to the matron's office, I prepared myself for what's to come. Taking a deep breath and letting it out, I knocked on the door 3 times. Come in. The old voice of the matron. My new memories told me. Opening the door, I entered the room and saw Matron Aiko sitting behind a desk with a calm and gentle face. I saw an old man sitting opposite to her with an equally calm but serious face looking me over. I walked a few steps, stopped, and looked around the room. It was a modest one with a shelf half filled with books and some scrolls and a few trinkets. I saw several photos of the kids and staff that were here at the orphanage. I stopped looking around and looked directly at Aiko. You wanted to see me, Miss Aiko? Yes, little Daichi. I'm glad you came quickly. There is someone here I'd like you to meet. This is Kensai Yasuji. He's interested in adopting you. Hearing those words, I looked toward the man and scrutinized him. He had shaggy black hair, a small scar on his left cheek and another running vertically across his right eye. He had a strong build for someone his age, but I can see the cane he uses to walk. The most noticeable feature about him was his left leg, or lack thereof. He uses a peg leg as a prosthesis to walk around. Daichi quickly read through the description and he felt he had a better understanding of the woman. So Daichi, what do you say? When he heard Miss Aiko's question, he looked back at the old man. I could see Miss Aiko's level and some info on her, but I don't have anything on the old man. That means he's definitely above level 47 and definitely a shinobi. But what kind of a man is he? Someone laid back or serious? Or is he someone ruthless and manipulative and with less than kind intentions? The last one seemed less likely since Aiko's allowing this guy to adopt me. Well, only one way to find out. What I'm about to do is stupid and has risks, but at least it'll give me an idea as to who I'm dealing with. All of these thoughts flashed through Daichi's mind in a couple of seconds. Stealing his heart, he made a choice. You know, old man, with that peg leg, if you wear an eye patch you'd make a scary looking pirate. He said with a smile on his face. Let's see how this guy responds. Will he take my words as an insult or laugh it off? Or maybe neither and stay expressionless. He noticed Aiko's face sporting a shocked expression out of the corner of his eye. Daichi, that was very rude. Apologize, she exclaimed. Daichi was still looking at the old man's face with a small smile. Suddenly the old man's face had a large grin and he burst out laughing. Ha, boy, you're not the first person to tell me that. Even I think I'd make a decent pirate with my face. In fact, the ladies would definitely fall for my ruggedly handsome looks. He said in a merry tone. Aiko was taken aback and then slowly a small smile bloomed on her face. For a moment I thought Kensai would be offended, but I'm happy to be proven wrong in this instance. So kid, what do you say? Wanna come live with me? Kensai asked me with a wide grin. Sure. Daichi replied with an equally wide grin on his face. Well, I am glad you two are happy. Daichi, why don't you go upstairs and grab your things? Kensai-san and I will be waiting here. Okay. He nodded and left the room. You were right. He's smart. Kensai said after Daichi left the room. Yes. He's much more intelligent than the other kids here. Aiko agreed and added her thoughts. Tell me something. This adoption, is this just about Hotaru or is there something more? She had a serious expression on her face as asked this question. Kensai looked at Aiko and had a smirk on his face. Maybe I'm just a nice guy and want to give the kid a home. Family law. The matron slightly narrowed her eyes. A nice guy. You and I both know that's not true. The only reason I agreed to this adoption is because we've known each other for over 2 decades. Now tell me, why now? Why him? The smile left Kensai's face and he closed his eyes for a moment. The masked face of someone who rescued him during a mission long ago came to his mind. Let's just say that, I'm here to honor a promise. Daichi's POV. On my way up, a lot of thoughts crossed my mind. Even though Aiko posed the adoption choice as mine, I knew it really wasn't. If every orphan had that choice, I doubt many would get adopted. But the 3 main reasons why I decided to accept the offer so readily was because 1. I want some privacy. And I wouldn't have gotten it here in the orphanage. 2. This old man reminded me of my old neighbor. Kind and helpful. And I couldn't feel any ill intent coming from him. But I am just a child, and that guy is most likely an old shinobi veteran who probably has decades of experience hiding his emotions. So I wouldn't be able to tell even if he was a bad guy. But my gut feeling says that guy cares about me. Although Lord knows why. And the third and most important reason. 3. He's a shinobi who's definitely at least high chunin level or more. My lack of info when I used observe on him proved that much. If I could learn from him during the time I spent in the academy, it would definitely boost my growth rate exponentially. Something that wouldn't happen if I stayed here. There are definitely cons to this as well. He could find out about my gamer body and its abnormalities and report it to the Hokage. He could be a retired root agent and looking to recruit new talents for Danzo's army. Or something else entirely. All risks I will have to take. But the pros definitely outweigh the cons. So this was a decision that wasn't hard to make. Due to making a logical and smart decision, you have obtained +1 WIS. A new blue dialog box appeared. Other than my hands and shoulders slightly twitching, I made no outward reaction. I was starting to get used to the notifications popping up in front of me without warning. An unexpected but not unwelcome surprise. So this also means I can increase my stat points by not just leveling up, huh? Alright, I've waited long enough. Time to check out my status page. Status. I quietly muttered. A new window appeared containing my information. Everything looks standard except for 2 stats. My intelligence is highest with wisdom coming in second. It must be due to my previous life. 17 years worth of maturity and intelligence and logical decision-making capabilities. I guess it's only natural that my intelligence and wisdom are higher than the rest. And what the heck are these locked special stats? No, not right now. I'll do a more thorough research on my gamer's ability later in my own room at the old man's home. I thought to myself and closed the status page. I quickly reached my room and started packing the few belongings I had in a bag. It wasn't much. Just a few pairs of dresses and a few books. As I put what little I owned into the bag, my mind went to my previous life. Mom, Dad, what are they feeling right now? What a stupid question. I'm sure they're heartbroken right now. And my brothers Alex and Simon, I won't get to see any of them again. As the faces of my family came to my mind, tears welled up in my eyes, and before I went into a hysteria, the gamer's mind activated and calmed me down. I rubbed my eyes and took a few deep breaths and got my emotions under control. I can't wallow in sadness or self-pity. I have to move on. Mom, Dad, Alex, Simon, I won't forget you. But I'm going to move on. I have to. I'll make sure to live a good and happy life. Please do the same. I hope you guys will be okay. More information than the first time. Must be because my observe has leveled up. Okay, the first thing I gotta do is level up observe as much as I can as fast as I can. I mulled. I heard the good news. Although I'm sad to see you leave, I am truly happy for you. He said with a sad smile. Jozu was the one I had memories of the most. He taught the previous Daichi to read and write and told him all kinds of stories that made him laugh. He was like an older brother. Well, at least to the previous Daichi, anyway. Still, I couldn't help but feel a small attachment to him. I went to him and gave him a tight hug. Thank you for everything. He hugged me back just as tightly. After a few seconds, he let go and quickly wiped the few tears he had at the corner of his eyes. This is way too sappy. Real men don't cry. This is supposed to be a happy occasion. Go on. Better not keep Miss Aiko waiting. He said with a big smile, patting my back. I smiled, nodding at him, and then made my way to the matron's office. Both Kensai and Aiko were waiting for me at the door of the office. Aiko had a gentle smile on her face and asked, "Are you ready, Daichi?" I nodded and then bowed. "Thank you for taking care of me all these years, Miss Aiko. I'll never forget you." The gratitude in my voice was clear. This was a woman who spent her life serving this village as a shinobi. And then healing others as a medic. And now she spends her days looking after, and genuinely caring for children who have no one. I may not know her personally, but this woman deserves my utmost respect. Aiko placed a hand on my shoulder. Happy birthday, Daichi. This is a new beginning for you. So make the most of it. I looked at her and nodded, then turned to the old man. We both nodded at each other and slowly made our way out of the orphanage. I felt the warm rays of the sun on my body. The cool morning breeze gently blowing around me. I was so excited I had a small skip in my step. As I looked around, I saw trees of different shapes and sizes and various plants of all colors adorning the sides of the road. This village was mesmerizing. Gardening. There was no pollution in the air here or the screeching noises of the many vehicles that I was accustomed to back in my old world. With every breath of air, it felt like strength was flowing into my body. As I was walking forward, I realized that the orphanage was situated at the outskirts of the Leaf Village. I took a look back to take in the sight of the building. It was different from the one I remember watching in the story. So this must be another orphanage in the village. I remember reading in the description that this orphanage was built by Aiko with her funds and she was the one running it. That's a surprise. That was the only reply he got. The young owner then turned his head and looked to Daichi and asked politely. "And who might you be, kid?" "I'm Daichi Hekima," the boy said with a smile. "I decided to adopt him. So now he's my grandson." Kensai added. Rep increases with Shifang. She was surprised and then smiled. "Good for you, old man. Guess you won't be so lonely in that house anymore. Now then, what will you two be having?" "We'll have 2 plates of rainbow dumplings. Coming right up." She left and disappeared into the kitchen. I could smell the fragrance of several foods when I entered this place. "So I'm guessing this, rainbow dumplings, is gonna be delicious, huh?" Daichi asked, looking at Shi's retreating figure. "It is. This place may look small, but I've eaten some of the most delicious foods in my life at this place." Kensai had a small grin when he said those words. Hearing his reply, Daichi got excited to try the dish and was waiting eagerly for it. "We have a few minutes before he comes back. So let's have a chat." Kensai's smile disappeared as he said those words. He was calm and collected with no emotions showing on his face. Daichi was only slightly surprised at the sudden change in atmosphere. Even though he smiled and was putting on a cheerful face all this time, he was cautious and had never let his guard down. He knew this was a shinobi village and he had to be extremely careful with every move he made. Visual art and design. He knew from the start, the person adopting him could potentially be an enemy. Until he had the strength to protect himself from most threats, he would tread cautiously. This was something Daichi decided after his meeting with Kensai in the orphanage. Without even realizing it, Daichi's body instinctively shifted into a defensive posture and the smile and cheerful expression disappeared. He maintained a neutral face just like the old man sitting opposite to him. About 30 seconds passed by, with neither of them making a sound or movement. Each of them looking at the other with expressionless faces. "That's what I wanted to see," Kensai said, breaking the uncomfortable silence. Daichi was confused. What does he mean by that? What did he see? Daichi was only pondering these questions for a few seconds before the answer hit him. He suddenly looked at his clenched hands and the defensive posture his body was in. His eyes widened as he found the answer. He didn't react in the way a normal 5-year-old would. Daichi quickly realized that the old man figured out he was no ordinary child, with the way he schooled his face and his body's fight or flight response. He realized I'm more than the average kid based on my reaction just now. But what triggered him to test me? I doubt he knows about my gamer ability or its abnormalities. But if he thinks I'm some kind of a spy or a threat and decides to interrogate me or report me, I'm doomed. I have to find out how much he knows and what he thinks I am. I can't tell him who I really am, but playing dumb won't help me either. And if I lie, it would only get me in trouble. It's best to do this straightforward. Daichi quickly looked back to the old man and asked in a serious voice. "How long have you known?" Kensai looked at the child in front of him and answered. "I see you're choosing the direct approach. Good. That's my style too. So how long have I known that you are much smarter and perceptive than a kid your age has any right to be?" "Isn't that your question?" Kensai asked with a smirk. Daichi looked at him and slowly nodded. "Since our first meeting, when Aiko told you about the adoption, You had a certain look on your face and a glint in your eyes. Something I've seen on many shinobi who are deep in enemy territories. It was only for a split second, so I doubt Aiko saw it. But I've been a shinobi for most of my life. So when I saw that calculating glint in your eyes, I instantly recognized it. The eyes of someone finding himself in an unknown situation, and deciding to take a risk after weighing the pros and cons and to figure out the variables. Which in this case is me. And right now your body's reaction to what you perceive as a possible potential threat. The way you reacted to my words. All of that tells me all I need to know. Daichi was freaking out inside his head. Holy crap. Holy crap. This guy is way too perceptive. I knew I might be caught one day, but not on my first day here before lunch. Oh man, what do I do? As Daichi was panicking, a sudden calmness washed over him and he was able to quickly regain control of his emotions and thoughts. Kensai was watching young Daichi's face intently. He saw the myriads of emotions and expressions flashing across his face. Kensai sighed to himself. This kid is smart and intelligent, and perceptive far beyond his age, but he is a total newbie when it comes to controlling his facial expression and emotions. Kensai was a bit surprised at how quickly Daichi went from panicking to suddenly keeping a calm face. But he didn't think much of it. He asked with a smug tone. You wanted to see how I'd react, didn't you? Isn't that why you said I'd make a good pirate? Am I right? Daichi was surprised even more. He didn't think the old man would figure him out so quickly. He nodded his head. Yes. That was the only answer he gave. So what now? Daichi asked cautiously. When I woke up this morning I didn't think I'd be adopting a genius. Kensai said. Confusion ran across Daichi's face. Genius? What are you talking about? Kid, let's not beat around the bush. We both know you're much smarter than those your age. You're keen and perceptive and have a maturity that's not seen in a 5-year-old. Well, most 5-year-olds anyway. Kensai said as he recalled the faces of the handful of geniuses he had met over his lifetime. And the smile was back on his face. Daichi was listening to him with the same calm expression, but he was relieved inside. Oh, thank God. He thinks I'm a genius and not a spy. I can work with that. But I need to know why he adopted me. What he wants from me. Let's see if this old man is willing to give me the answers. I have 2 questions. Will you answer me honestly? Daichi asked politely. Go ahead. Kensai nodded. Why did you adopt me? Kensai's face turned slightly solemn and had a sad smile on his face. He sighed and answered. You remind me of my son. His name was Hotaru. He was killed in the Nine Tails attack 5 years ago. He and I had a strained relationship, and over the years we drifted apart. When I saw you a week ago with Aiko buying groceries, it looked like I was looking at a young Hotaru. You have such a resemblance to him, I thought you might be his son. But judging from your expression, I'm not, am I? Daichi asked. No, I had Aiko run a blood test. You're not his son. Listen, Daichi, you may not be his son, but I've decided to adopt you nonetheless. I know we may not be related by blood, but from now on I am your grandpa. And I expect you to call me as such. So your reason for taking me in is because I have a resemblance to your long-dead son. Daichi then smirked innocently and continued. Are you sure it's not because you're getting old and you need someone to take care of you? Ha, I'm still in my 60s, brat. It'll be a couple dozen more years before I would need anyone to take care of me. The tense atmosphere between the two instantly disappeared. Kensai said with a laugh. Then he said, he was smart and cheeky just like you. While not a prodigy, he was definitely above his peers. So you see, it's not just your looks that resembles him. Now you know why I chose you. Daichi nodded and smiled at him. Thank you for giving me a home. Now for my second question. Why did you decide to test me just now? I've seen orphan children lead a difficult life. They are extremely cautious towards new people. They are also a bit smarter and more mature than the children of their age. But I doubt they'd be capable of assessing the advantages and disadvantages of an unknown situation and make hard, smart decisions. especially when they only have a limited amount of information. And to do it all in the span of a few seconds while keeping a cool face. Very few kids can do that. So I wanted to see which one you were. A cautious, slightly more mature child or a genuine genius. Come on. What makes you think I'm a genius? A gut feeling. Besides, you don't talk like a regular kid, do you? For me, it feels as if I'm talking to an adult. He said with a smirk plastered on his face. Daichi didn't answer the rhetorical question. Just then, a tantalizing aroma filled their nostrils and they automatically looked towards the kitchen. They saw Shi Fang holding two bowls heading towards them. He reached their table and placed the food in front of them. Daichi quickly used observe on his food. Observe. Rainbow dumplings. A delicious breakfast dish made by Shi Fang. The inside of the dumpling has 7 layers of vegetables and meat. The ingredients used to make this dish are all of high quality. Shi Fang uses a special method to cook this dish to ensure that the ingredients retain some of their chakra and most of their vitality. One dumpling restores 15 HP and 9 CP. Daichi was incredulous after reading that description. Holy shit. This thing can restore 15 HP and 9 CP. If that's the case, in my current state just 14 of these things and I'll be in full health. I definitely need to check out my inventory and find out if it can preserve food. If it can, I am definitely buying a couple hundred of these for a rainy day. 2 white glass bowls with 3 white dumplings each and some soup poured and chopped onions sprinkled over it. The white and glossy, rainbow dumplings, were not radiating rainbow colors despite its name. These dumplings were smooth and translucent, and the fillings inside could almost be seen. From the outside, there seemed to be a faint amount of fragrance enveloping the fillings and made the dumpling appear extremely tantalizing. Enjoy, she said and then walked away. Alright, why don't we table our discussion until after we've had our stomachs filled? Let's dig in. You're going to love this place after you've had a taste of these dumplings. Kensai said. Daichi didn't need any more encouragement and he quickly took the chopsticks, picked up a dumpling, and placed it in his mouth. As soon as he bit into the dumpling, he could feel a soft, fragrant smell filling his mouth. He closed his eyes and enjoyed the blissful moment for a few seconds. Delicious. He couldn't help but say those words. Both Daichi and Kensai enjoyed the food and ate at a comfortable slow pace. They ate the 3 dumplings and finished the soup in about 10 minutes. Both of them were completely satisfied with their breakfast. Happy? Kensai asked the boy. Yes. I definitely have to come back here. Daichi replied. Now then, shall we continue our chat? Daichi simply nodded to Kensai's question. I want you to think long and hard before you answer this question. What do you want to be in the future? Kensai asked in a serious tone. Daichi paused at the question and was about to immediately reply, a shinobi. But he stopped himself and thought about it a bit more. What I want, I want to become the strongest, so I'm definitely going to be a ninja, but is that all I really want? I'm in a world full of possibilities and unknowns. And I bet there are a lot more interesting things out there that the story didn't cover. I have the gamer's ability. The best tool for any situation. So theoretically nothing should be impossible for me. I could learn about all sorts of things. As Daichi was having these thoughts, he looked toward the empty glass bowl in front of him. After thinking for a few more seconds, he made a decision and he had his answer. Daichi looked at the old man and had a resolute face and gave him his answer. I am going to be a shinobi. Not just any shinobi, but the world's strongest. But that's not all I want. I want to visit all sorts of places. Travel the world. Experience all sorts of things. Try new things. But what I want the most is to not have any regrets. Kensai heard Daichi's answer and had an understandable expression. A free spirit. Daichi. I've been a shinobi for over 4 decades. The years and experiences have taught me that the world isn't black and white. There will be people who will oppose your goals, both outside the village and within, and become your enemy simply because you might become a threat to them. To make your dreams come true and live the way you want, you have to be strong. Stronger than most. If not all. That journey will be extremely difficult. Do you really want that? Kensai asked in a serious tone. Yes. I'm prepared. I won't back down from any challenge that comes my way. Daichi replied without a second's hesitation and with absolute resolve. Rep increases with Kensai Yasuji. Seeing the look on Daichi's face, Kensai understood the boy was serious. And he knew the boy understood the challenges that would face him. A strong heart indeed. He had a large grin broadening on his old face. The boy's ambition reminded him of his own when he was a youth. At that moment, Kensai decided he was going to help the boy achieve his dreams. But before he started training the boy, Kensai decided he was going to see just how strong-willed the boy was. If you want to become the strongest, then you're gonna need some intense training. Right now you're 5. I'll let you join the academy next year. So that means we have a year to train and get you to the same level as the clan kids. Now just because you said you wanted to be the strongest doesn't mean you'll become one. I want to see your resolve when your body feels like it's on fire. Prove to me within the next month that you can do more than just talk big. If I'm convinced, then I'll start your training. Hearing the old man's challenge lit a fire inside him. He wanted to prove to Kensai that he could do it. A new quest suddenly popped up. Kensai had a serene smile as he watched young Daichi take in the different sights. Daichi was looking around everywhere in wonder and using his observe skill on everything. His observe has leveled up even further, and after checking out the level of several shinobi that passed by him, he came to a conclusion. So I can see the level of someone up to 45 levels above mine. And the higher the level, the less information. I can't read the level or stats of any of the shinobi wearing a chunin vest. Does that mean most chunin are above level 48? The highest levels of red until now are Miss Aiko with level 47 and another teenager that just passed by with level 48. But his description said he was someone who's been a genin for 6 years. But Aiko's description said she was a chunin. So that means there might be people with stats way beyond what their level shows. Thinking about it, that makes sense. Rock Lee with his gates opened would have his physical stats boosted much further than someone of his same level. Okay, I definitely shouldn't underestimate anyone, even if they are the same level or even a few below me. Due to making a logical and smart decision, you have obtained +1 WIS. So it agrees with me. Wait, is this system alive? Are you alive? Daichi shouted in his several seconds of silence and no reply. Daichi felt like a fool for thinking the system could talk back and answer his questions like a person could. We're here. Daichi was taken out of his thoughts when he heard Kensai speak. They were in front of a clothing store that was designed with several colors. One could see the different types of outfits in the store from the road through the glass window at the front. The name of the store was Hinshitsu. Kensai opened the door of the shop and it rang a bell. He stepped inside, followed by Daichi. As soon as he stepped inside, a notification appeared. You have found a clothing outlet. Quest progression 2/7. Clothing. Nice. Only 5 more to go for the next level. As they went inside, a girl in her late teens greeted them. She was wearing a dress that made her look elegant and beautiful. She had brunette hair that was tied in a bun and was wearing pink lipstick. She had a slender figure and had a beautiful smile on her face. Hello. Welcome to Hinshitsu. My name is Aikika. How can I help you today? She looked at Kensai and then at Daichi. She had a cute smile. Ah, what an adorable grandson. Follow me. She turned around and led them to a section of the store that sold children's clothes. Childcare. What color do you like? She asked. Green and maybe something in black and red. Daichi replied. She had a tape and took Daichi's measurements and went to get him a few options. Kensai sat in a nearby chair watching the boy. He still remembered the answer the boy gave him. His ambition resonated with Kensai. He closed his eyes and began to reminisce about his past. He didn't know how much time had passed as the memories came and went, but was brought to the present when someone tapped his shoulder. He opened his eyes. He saw Daichi in a new outfit. The kid was wearing a light green shirt with black trousers. So how do I look? Daichi wanted to know Kensai's opinion. Good. They suit you. He got up from his chair and paid the bill and both of them left. Let's go home, Kensai said as he started walking in the direction of his house. Daichi followed him. After about a 15-minute walk they reached a large gate. There was a 2-story house beyond it, situated inside a modest compound surrounded by tall trees. There was a garden in the front with various flowers of all colors growing, but most of them were withered or dying. There was also weed growing amongst them. Kensai placed his right hand on the gate on a specific design and pushed a tiny amount of chakra. The gate opened on its own, neither too fast nor too slow. After they both walked past the gate, it slowly closed on its own. Wow, that's cool. How did it do that? Daichi asked. The old man had a smirk when he heard the question. He replied, an elegant but simple sealing jutsu. If you plan on becoming the strongest, then it's a branch of jutsu you're gonna have to study. When Daichi heard it, he was excited. He could imagine all the possibilities with sealing jutsus once he mastered it. Both of them went inside the house. Daichi noted that it was modeled after a traditional Japanese house. It had wooden verandas circling all around with sliding doors. The floor was covered in tatami mats. When he stepped into the room, he noted that it had minimal furniture. Quite different from his apartment in his old life. Both of them stepped into the living room. Welcome to your new home, Kensai said happily. Thanks, Gramps, Daichi replied. That's the first time you've acknowledged me as your grandfather. It is, isn't it? I'm gonna stick with it. Although I do prefer you call me Grandpa. Daichi mulled for a few seconds and gave a reply. Nah, I like Gramps much more. Cheeky brat. Both of them had a smirk. Come on, I'll show you to your room. Kensai led Daichi upstairs to another room. He slid open the door. It was a simple room with a bed, a table and chair, a full-length mirror and an empty shelf. A small closet and a bathroom attached to it. And a window that showed the back of the house. All in all, a comfortable room to live in for someone like Daichi. It's almost noon. Get settled and come down in an hour. I'll have something to eat by then. Oh, and happy birthday, kid, he said with a gentle smile and went downstairs, leaving the boy alone. Daichi got inside and closed the door behind him as he contemplated his situation. He realized the absurdity of the whole thing. Reborn into a fictional world and getting adopted on the same day. He realized that the gamer's mind was keeping him from freaking out. He once again reminded himself that this was his second chance and a way forward. Doors and windows. Closing his eyes, he took a deep breath and let it out after a few seconds. When he opened his eyes, he had a metaphorical fire lit in them. Let's begin. He quickly unpacked his belongings and arranged them. Everything was quickly done in a few minutes. He was ready to find out more about his gamer ability. First things first. Let me check out my stats. Status, he said in his mind. Alright, I only need to think of the options and it appears. Excellent. Wisdom increased by 2. Need to find a way to unlock the special stats quickly. I expected the health and chakra bars at the top. But what's the third? SP. Does it stand for stamina points? That must be it. I have 25 points. So I must have had 15 stat points at the beginning and 5 points with each level up. I think, need to check just how many points I get from each level up. Since I can increase stat points by training, I won't spend them now since they will be difficult to increase when they reach a high enough number, and even if I do, it won't be for the next few days. But before I spend any stat points, I need to figure out what exactly my stats do to my body and what exactly they increase. Daichi looked at the 7 different stats. Alright, the strength stat is pretty obvious, it increases the strength of the body. I'm assuming vitality would increase my health points and stamina points. I am pretty sure that agility stat is the one that increases speed, so dexterity must help me with something else. Chakra stat increases the chakra points. So does increasing intelligence stat just gives me more intelligence, or does it do more? Maybe a photographic memory. Questions for later. And finally, wisdom. I already know this is the stat that helps me with making better decisions. I remember that in the original gamer story, logical and smarter decisions gave stat points to intelligence. But mine was allocated to wisdom stat. It seems my gamer ability is a bit different from the one Han had. So more wisdom equals smarter decisions. This might help me in games like shogi or go or chess. Do they even have chess in this world? Again, questions for later. Alright, next up inventory. Inventory. A box with empty slots appeared before Daichi. He had a lot of things to experiment on with the inventory skill. He wanted to know if he could store living creatures and if time was frozen inside the storage dimension. Right now the box showed nothing but empty slots. I expected the first two skills and observe, but what's the third one? Gaia's blessing. Is that how I got a new body? Seems to be a one-time thing. But that permanent effect on the other hand, that's definitely a great blessing. Guess I won't have to worry about terminal illnesses or poison experts. As Daichi was reading the skills, he did a double take. His eyes stopped at the gamer's body skill and he read every line carefully. Receives minimal damage from blunt force attacks, but stabbing and piercing attacks have limited effects. Does that mean if someone pierced my internal organs, they would be damaged? Could those injuries be permanent? No. Based on what I understand, Gaia's permanent blessing would counteract all negative status effects and heal damaged organs. But that's one question I'm not eager to confirm the answer to. Still, this could be a blessing in disguise. If people saw me get stabbed and see no bleeding or any external injuries, they would definitely get suspicious. The last thing I want is to end up as a test subject for dissection on an operating table under the scalpels of several doctors or worse, Orochimaru. After going through everything one more time, Daichi closed all the notification boxes and went to the window in his room. He could see the back of the home. There was a koi pond along with several wooden training stumps. Some of the stumps had targets painted on them. Guess I'll be able to practice my shuriken and kunai throwing skills here. And in another corner there were rocks of various shapes and sizes. Maybe I can use those for weight training. Time flew by and after about an hour he went down to meet the old man. When he got down, he saw Kensai bringing the food. They ate in a comfortable silence and enjoyed the meal. When they finished, Daichi took the bowl from the old man and went to the kitchen to wash it. After washing the second dish he got a new skill. The house had a room dedicated for training and sparring. It was a wide area with a tall stump in the corner. There was also a library filled with books and scrolls of all sizes. When Daichi saw it his eyes widened in excitement. All that knowledge, training and certification. I see you like my library. Kensai said, understanding Daichi's thirst for knowledge. All the knowledge I have acquired throughout my career is recorded and stored here. For now I'll let you take the basics, but after you've proven yourself to me, I'll let you have them all depending on your progress. Thanks, Gramps. I won't let you down. They left and went outside. This house has some basic defenses. It tells me if anyone unexpected arrives, among other things. I've added your chakra to the seal as well. I definitely gotta learn how to do that. In time. Kensai then looked over to the garden. He had a melancholic expression on his face. My wife planted those flowers. She built a beautiful garden in memory of my son. But now watching those flowers wither away and the whole place in such disarray. Kensai sighed to himself. Just then a new quest appeared. There was a medium-sized koi pond and several shuriken target stumps lined. You can train your shuriken jutsu here and someday in the future, advanced chakra control techniques, so what do you think? It's perfect. Let's get started. I wanna start training right now. Training and certification. Kensai smiled at the reply and sat down on the wooden veranda. Do some light stretches. That way you don't pull your muscles. Then start running around the compound. As I understand you've never had any training in your life, have you? No. Then it's important we find the current limits of your body. And then increase that limit day by day. Show me that determination and willpower. Oh, don't you worry, Gramps. You're not gonna be disappointed. Daichi started doing some light stretches to loosen up and get used to his new body. After about 20 minutes, a new notification appeared. Due to successful control of your body and senses, you have obtained +1 dex. So stretching exercises increase the dexterity points, huh? Good to know. Control of body and senses, I'll have to look into that. Daichi was feeling small amounts of pain all over his body. But he endured it. After about a minute, the pain he was feeling disappeared. Now that you're all limbered up, take 10 laps around the compound. Kensai had a strange look on his face as he watched Daichi meditate. Is it just me, or did his chakra increase? Increasing one's chakra is not something that can be done in a few minutes with an hour of training. And yet, it feels like his chakra capacity has increased by a small margin. Or maybe old age is catching up to me. Guess I really am rusty if I can't even the chakra capacity of a kid fresh into training. Kensai sighed to himself. He was content with just sitting there watching his new adopted grandson train himself. Daichi meditated for about 2 hours. His SP bar was fully regenerated. His meditate skill went up another level. He stood up and did some stretching exercises. He remembered watching different types of them in his previous life. As he got his body limbered up again, he got a notification informing him of his increased dexterity. Religion and belief. Due to successful control of your body and senses, you have obtained +1 dex. He ran 10 laps around the house, but this time he went at a faster pace than before. There was no quest this time, but he was able to complete the run in 14 minutes and he was nowhere near as tired as the first time. Due to the continued physical training, you have obtained +1 AGI. Due to the continued physical training, you have obtained +1 VIT. During the run, he was able to increase his agility and vitality stat by 1 point each. He quickly got down to complete the next 50 rounds of push-ups, sit-ups and squats. Around the time of completion, due to the continued physical training, you have obtained +1 STR. Due to the continued physical training, you have obtained +1 AGI. He got another stat point in strength and agility. And his basic body conditioning skill also leveled up. As his SP got below 5, he got a notification showing a growth in stamina. +1 stamina. Daichi got under the tree and sat in the meditative pose for the 3rd time that day. By the time he was done, the sun had begun to set. He felt refreshed and happy at his progress on his first day. He got up and went to sit near Kensai. You've certainly exceeded my expectations, Kensai said with a smile. Rep increased with Kensai Yasuji. Thanks, Gramps. Both of them sat in comfortable silence as they watched the last rays of the sun disappear. They got up after a few minutes and went inside. The old man had someone deliver their dinner by evening. They ate and Kensai shared some stories of his time as a shinobi. Both of them retired to their rooms shortly after. Daichi had a lot on his mind and there were many things he had to confirm regarding his abilities. As he walked upstairs to his room, he looked at his fists and slowly clenched them. He could feel the strength coursing through them. In one day I was able to increase my strength by this much. Even though it's a small margin, this was still achieved within the span of a day. Moving forward, I know increasing my stats will become difficult, but if I keep with it I can definitely stand at top. Observe, is on the verge of reaching level 10. And meditate and basic body conditioning have increased by 1. I still have a lot to do. Need to buy some things to experiment and find out the full potential of inventory. And I need to start on the gardening quest tomorrow. Let's see, what else? Of course, basic taijutsu and shuriken jutsu. After that, once I increase my chakra control and capacity with the leaf concentration exercise, I'll look into genjutsu. I'll save the E-rank ninjutsu for after that. Since my gamer's body is a bit different, I'll have to figure out its limitations. I got 1 month to impress the old man and another 11 to get ahead of my classmates. Lots of work ahead of me, but if I work smart I can definitely push the advantages of having the gamer's ability to the max. For the first time in a long time, Daichi was truly happy and looking forward to a new day. He slowly closed his eyes and went to sleep as he dreamed of what his future would be like. Daichi woke up to the sounds of birds chirping and the rays of the morning sun shining through the window. You have slept in a bed. HP, CP and SP have been fully restored. Those words were the first thing that greeted him. He got up from his bed and went to the window. He took in the beautiful sights in front of him. After standing there for a couple of minutes and enjoying the beauties of nature, Daichi went to the bathroom and freshened up. After putting on a new set of clothes, he went down to greet Kensai. As he got down, he saw the old man eating a few dumplings and reading a book. Good morning, Gramps. Morning, kid. I had someone deliver those rainbow dumplings a few minutes ago. So eat them while they're fresh and hot. Daichi nodded and went to eat his breakfast. He finished the dumplings in a couple of minutes and then went near his grandfather. So what are your plans for today? Kensai asked, his eyes still on the book. I want to explore the village more. And maybe buy a few things. Daichi replied. What about you? He asked. I'll be here reading my book. It's a fascinating read. And there's 2,000 ryos inside that box. It's yours. Spend it wisely. Kensai said, pointing to a nearby red box on a table. I will. Thanks, Gramps. I'm gonna head out to the library first and then check out a few other places. So I'll be a little late. Make sure to get home before night falls. Kensai said, looking up from his book. Daichi accepted the quest without hesitation. I'll be back by evening. By the way, do you want me to bring you anything? No need. I've already bought everything we need for the week. Daichi nodded to his grandfather and went out. Daichi was excited for two reasons. 1. He wanted to explore and see more of the Leaf Village. And 2. He wanted to complete his quest. Alright, what to do first? Gonna need to buy a few things to test out my inventory. And I need to start on my gardening quest, but I don't know much about gardening, so a book on that would be nice. Now that I think about it, a book on cooking would be good too. If I can learn to cook dishes that restores my HP and CP, it would be a great boon. Need to unlock my chakra. So I definitely have to go to the library and read a few books on that. No wait. The old man must have chakra theory books in his personal library. What I need right now is information. I have to find out if there are any changes to the history and events. I need to confirm whether this is the canon timeline or if I'm living in some alternate universe. Daichi made up his mind and decided to head towards the library. He walked around taking in the sights. A few minutes later, he saw a small book stall on the side of the road. It was a small store sandwiched between two apartment buildings. He decided to check it out. He saw an old man with gray hair sitting on a stool at the front. As Daichi read the description, he did a double take. I didn't think I would come into contact with anyone related to the Sanin so soon. Can't make any mistakes. Gotta act my age and keep cool. As he reached the store, a new notification appeared. You have found a book stall. Quest progression. 3/7. Hello, sir. Good morning. Daichi said in a calm voice. Morning. What can I get you, boy? Khan asked. I'm looking for a good cookbook with lots of recipes. And a book on gardening. Do you have any of those? Daichi asked politely. Of course. Hold on. With those words, Khan stood up and searched through the stacks of books piled up. Shortly after, he returned with 2 books. Here, I think these 2 should help. Khan handed Daichi the 2 books. After looking over the description of the 2 books, Daichi was satisfied. He flipped open a few pages and glossed over them. After a minute, he closed the book and said, these will do. How much? 350 ryo, came the reply. Daichi paid the amount and was about to leave, but he saw a few bags and different types of sunglasses hanging at the back of the store. One particular type of sunglass caught his eye. It was round, with black tinted shades and a green frame. That glass reminded Daichi of the steampunk-type glasses. He also decided to buy a black backpack to keep his books. After having Khan bring him the two things, he paid an additional 180 ryo and left the store. Observe. Black sunglasses. These sunglasses are uniquely stylish and can enhance the wearer's aesthetic appeal with ease. The craftsman who made these glasses was said to have been inspired by a retrofuturistic science fiction novel that depicts technology never before seen in this world. This is a medium-sized sunglass with stylish green frames and round shades. Observe. Black backpack. An item that is commonly used by travelers and students. A simple frameless backpack with above-average aesthetic design. This is made of cotton fabric and coated with wax. Although this backpack has excellent waterproofing, it cannot withstand all abrasions. He put the books in the bag and put on his new sunglasses. The main reason he bought a sunglass was to make sure no one saw the movements of his eyes. Daichi didn't want people to know that he was reading something that was invisible to them. If someone perceptive saw Daichi reading the notification boxes or the quest contents, which are invisible to them, they would either think he was crazy, attention-seeking, or had some kind of special ability. None of which could be good for him. This way he could reduce the risk of someone finding out about his powers. This was his thought. He continued his walk to the library. He asked for directions a couple of times, and after 30 minutes he finally reached his destination. Daichi couldn't get any information after using observe on the woman, but he could make a few guesses. This woman looks like she's over 50 years old. I don't recognize her from the story, so she must not be that important, but judging from the fact that I can't see her level or information, she must be high chunin or jonin. In hindsight, that should have been obvious. The village wouldn't keep someone weak in charge of their information. Although since this is public, I doubt I'd find anything dangerous or classified here. Single quote. As the library had several sections dedicated to many subjects, Daichi decided to ask the librarian the location of the history books. She pointed to a shelf in the corner and resumed her reading. Daichi came upon a small shelf filled with books of various sizes. He looked at the titles of each book. After a minute he took several books, went to a nearby table and started reading. He found a book that depicted the founding of the village and the different clans that joined shortly after. Although there was some information that Daichi knew from his past life that was not included in the book, there was some that he didn't know. But they were mostly common knowledge and unimportant. Due to learning and understanding new information, you have obtained +1 int. While reading the books he got a stat point in intelligence. He read through several books as the hours passed by. From the First World War to the Third World War and to the Nine Tails attack. He also read about the several clans that reside in the village. After reading all the books he found interesting, he had an understanding of the time period he's in and a solid knowledge about the Leaf Village. There doesn't seem to be any major changes to the story. The history is the same as the one in the story. So everything is the same until now, but since I'm a wrinkle in the time, the changes should start to take place from this point forward. But I don't plan on doing anything big, so the timeline should stay relatively the same. Right now my biggest advantage is my future knowledge. According to these books, the Leaf Village was formed around 70 years ago. And the Ninetails attack was 5 years ago. Then based on my memories, the Uchiha clan gets annihilated almost 3 years from now. And since I'm joining the academy next year, there's a chance I'm in Sasuke's year group. Unless I'm mistaken, Sasuke joined the academy 2 years before the massacre. The Uchiha massacre, Should I tell someone? Number. The events are already in motion. Nothing I do will change that. And if I do anything, it will only bring attention to me. Obito, Danzo, the Hokage, Itachi, all of them are dangerous. But the most dangerous one is Black Zetsu. He keeps an eye on everything. Definitely can't get on his radar. Not till I'm ready anyway. And even in the 1 million possibility that I somehow prevent the clan massacre, that will affect who Orochimaru will target. He most probably will go after Sasuke even if the clan were alive, since he's Itachi's brother and has a lot of potential, but he will definitely switch targets if he can't get to him. Not to mention the ripple effects of the Uchiha clan being alive, Just thinking about all this gives me a headache. Daichi thought long and hard about the choices he's going to make and came to a hard decision. My first and most important priority should be my life and my survival. I'm not going to jeopardize that. It may seem selfish, but I already had one life taken away from me before it could truly begin. I won't let that happen again. I'm truly sorry, Sasuke. I'm not gonna do anything or say anything that puts me at risk. It seems the destruction of your clan is truly inevitable. Maybe one day I'll make this up to you. Now I understand where the phrase ignorance is bliss comes from. Having knowledge of the future is a blessing, but at the same time it's also a curse. Even though I'm in no way responsible for the horror that's going to happen, I still feel like shit for not doing anything. Daichi sighed to himself and shook his head slightly. I need to clear my head. He took a look at the clock. It's past noon. I've spent almost 5 hours here. Time to go. As he started sorting the books back in their places, he thought about what he should do next. Need to complete the quest, explore the village, as soon as possible. And I need to start on that gardening quest too. I'm starting to feel a little hungry. I'll head to Ichiraku Ramen first. Have some of that delicious ramen. Then I'll head to the Hokage Rock and take in the view. My last stop will be the Yamanaka flower shop, and I'll buy the flower seeds and fertilizers. I can't waste time by blindly going in any direction. And asking people for directions will take a little longer than I want. I need a map. Daichi went to the librarian. She was reading a book and lightly giggling. Looking at the cover, Daichi could make out the name of the book. Ika. Of all the people I run into, still, a woman of culture. Respect. Daichi mentally saluted. Hello, miss. The old lady looked up from her book. She had a small blush on her face. What is it? Do you have a map of the village you could sell me? Why do you need a map? She asked, more out of boredom and a slight curiosity. I wanna visit the Hokage Mountain and the Yamanaka flower shop. I also hear there's a tasty ramen stand somewhere. But I'll be wasting a lot of time trying to find the places if I don't have any idea of where I'm going. Daichi replied. So I need a map. Got one. She looked at Daichi for a few seconds and then nodded her head. She took out a map that showed the several important places of the village. There were several famous landmarks and buildings marked on the map. That will be 100 ryo. Handing out the money, Daichi took the map and left the library. There were several locations marked on the map. Location of clan compounds, famous landmarks, historical and important buildings, and famous shops. His first stop, Ichiraku Ramen. Looking at the map, he had a good idea of where he was, and following the directions marked in the map, it didn't take him too long to reach the place. In front of him stood a small unassuming store, but it's one of the most iconic places in this world. At least in his perspective. Daichi dismissed the notification and was admiring the food. This looks absolutely delicious. Smells really great too. Thank you for the meal. Picking up the chopsticks, Daichi slowly started eating the ramen. I can understand why Naruto would come here every chance he gets. This is really tasty. So how does it taste? Tyuki asked with a knowing smile. Daichi swallowed and answered, absolutely wonderful. The guy who said your ramen tastes good was underselling. This is really delicious. Daichi praised the old chef. Rep increases with Tyuki. Glad you like it. With that, Tyuki went back to the kitchen with a happy smile. And Daichi resumed his eating. He slowly ate the noodles and pork and savored the broth. He wanted to enjoy the first ramen he had at this place. After about 20 minutes he was done. He chatted with Tyuki about the various ramen dishes he served. Then paid the bill and left the place with a promise to come back and try each one. I'm so happy right now. Daichi had a silly smile on his face as he slowly walked. Alright, now that I'm full, next stop, Hokage Mountain. Daichi took out the map from his bag and looked at the fastest route to the Hokage Mountain. As he was carefully looking at the map, a blue box appeared in front of him. Daichi was mesmerized by the sight. He could see the giant wall surrounding the village, giving it a sense of security. He could see the different ninjas going about their way. The houses and shops of all shapes and sorts. The village that holds the title of the strongest and most prosperous among the Great Five. He suddenly realized he was standing atop where legends once stood. This is where the first Hokage Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha made history. Two children of opposite sides unexpectedly met and became friends. The loss of their loved ones forced them to break the chains of their clan ideology. They dreamed of a place where people could be safe and enjoy peace. And they became strong enough to make that dream a reality. They set their differences aside and together founded the Hidden Leaf Village. For a short time they found the peace they so desperately searched for. The first trained the third and the disciple of the third trained the fourth. Some mistakes were made along the way by all the four Hokages, but whatever they did in the belief that it would protect their home. Even Madara, for all his faults and arrogance, all he wanted was to protect his clan. Even the current plan he's put in place, no matter how foolish, misguided or cruel, is in the notion that it would bring peace to the world. Daichi stood there looking over the village in a daze. His mind flashed through all the memories he had of this place as Daichi and as Thomas. Of living in this village and interacting with the people in it and reading about an amazing story and the sacrifices the characters in it made. He thought about the 11 clan kids currently living a carefree life but would one day stand strong to defend the village and the world against the coming threats. And most of all the blue-eyed protagonist who despite all the hate and suffering he endured became the protector of not only the village but this entire world. Without even realizing it, a few small tears dropped from the corner of his eyes. A small smile came to his face as he closed his eyes. I was arrogant. I've been given a second chance and an ability that would help me become strong. But that made me arrogant. I felt like I was the center of the universe, but I have to remember that I'm not. Not only that, on some small level one still regarded the people here as characters from a comic book. I didn't take them as seriously as I should. This place, the people living in it, this entire world, they are real. Just as real as I am. This is my story and I'll do my best to stand at the top, but I should remind myself that I'm not the only one living in this world. This is their story too. Once Daichi opened his eyes, he slowly let out a breath. His mind became clear and refreshed. The arrogance that he didn't even know existed inside him vanished. A new notification box appeared in front of him. Due to having a brief enlightenment, you have obtained +1 WIS. Are you alright, young one? At that moment Daichi heard someone behind him and he was slightly startled. When he turned around, his eyes widened as he stared at the man. For in front of him stood one of the most important and influential person in the world. Third Hokage. His voice barely above a whisper but was heard by the two. A few minutes ago, the Hokage's office. The third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, was looking over the reports of several Genin and Chunin teams currently active. In his hands held the file of one of his talented ninjas, Iruka Yumino. He read the history of the young teenager, his capabilities, progress and his skills. Anime and manga, it always filled his heart with pride to see the young stand on their own feet and prosper. He imagined the day when he too would hand over the hat to someone capable and strong once more. After reading over everything a second time, he placed the file down and took the next one. The next folder he took was a thick one. When he opened it, his heart became heavy. The photo of a stoic boy who hasn't even become a teenager was on it. It seems Fugaku is serious about pushing his son into becoming a Chunin as soon as possible. He looked at the somewhat thick file of Itachi Uchiha. The request for entering Itachi into the Chunin exams was in front of him. The relationship between the village and the Uchiha clan has not been good. Not since the attack. They have been one of the backbones of this village since its founding, and yet things have turned out like this. I have to mend the hate between the clan and the people of the village. Before it's too late. Or I fear for what's to come. He stood from his chair and walked to the window of his office. Looking out, he couldn't help but sigh sadly. Minato, why did you have to leave so soon? He thought about the missions the young Uchiha has completed since becoming a genin. He is a talented child. He had the abilities to graduate in less than a year. A genius beyond measure. But just because a child is capable and able to graduate early, does that mean they should? All the violence, ugliness and cruelty of this world, Itachi graduated in a single year and became a ninja from an early age. He had to watch his teammates die on the mission and he was forced to take lives. What does it do to someone like him? What would he turn into? His thoughts brought to mind the face of another genius. One he personally nurtured and loved and became one of his greatest regrets. He sighed again. I'm getting too tired for this. I need to get some fresh air. I'll take a walk. Maybe visit Naruto and see how he's doing. He slightly flared his chakra in a particular pattern. A ninja wearing a mask with the pattern of a bull appeared kneeling. I'll be heading out for a while. Reschedule the remaining appointments I have today for tomorrow. Yes, Lord Hokage, came the reply. Hiruzen Sarutobi walked out the office and slowly walked out the building. The people who saw him greeted him with smiles. And the ninjas bowed in respect. He stood near the entrance of the Ninja Academy and looked ahead, lost in thought. A new batch of students is going to join the academy soon. I need to make a decision regarding the graduation age soon. He mind raced about all the things he had to do. He looked up to the first two faces on the mountain. He looked at the second face. Tobirama-sensei, I have an idea as to what your response would be to the Uchiha situation. But, Hashirama-sensei, he looked at the face of the first. I wonder, how would you solve this problem? Without even realizing it, his feet took him to the top of the mountain. As he stood there, he saw a young boy no older than 5 or 6 years old in his estimate standing on top of the first Hokage's head and looking a little melancholic. The Hokage could feel the agitation of his tiny chakra reserves. A civilian child who has yet to learn to consciously use his chakra. He saw a few tears rolling down the cheek and the child closing his eyes. He was about to go over to console the young child, but in just a few moments Hiruzen could feel the chakra that was agitated a few seconds ago become calm. He was astonished. A young child with this much control over his emotions. I have only seen a rare few. When he saw the child open his eyes, he was once again shocked. He could see the wisdom of someone beyond their age in those eyes. His curiosity got the best of him. He had to know who this child was. He went near the boy and asked, "Are you all right, young one?" Daichi wasn't surprised. His observe didn't reveal anything. The third Hokage holds the title God of Shinobi, the Professor, and more. A powerful Kage even in his old age. Need to be careful with what I say. All of these thoughts flashed by in an instant. Hiruzen chucked. My, what a polite child. He had a gentle expression on his face. Are you all right, young one? Why were you crying? Daichi was surprised to hear the question. Crying. He brought his hands to his cheeks. He could feel the remnants of tears on his fingers. He didn't even realize it. Hiruzen wanted to know what would make a young child feel such a strong emotion. It's nothing, Lord Hokage. I was just thinking about some things. Daichi replied, not wanting to give away anything. I need to be cautious. That must have been some pretty deep thoughts. Hiruzen walked forward and stood next to him. Both of them looked at the village. What do you see? He asked after a few seconds of silence. Although the question was simple, Daichi knew it was anything but. He was quiet for a few seconds and gathered his thoughts. He could give the normal answer. The one expected of a child his age. Psychology. Suddenly an idea came to his mind. A crazy wild idea that if it worked would help him immensely. After a few seconds of contemplation he made a choice. He was going to take a giant gamble. If it succeeded, it would help him through the years to come. If it didn't, he didn't even want to think about that. With steely resolve in his choice, he replied in 4 words. Peace, harmony and sacrifice. Definitely not an ordinary child. Tell me more. What do those words mean to you? The aging leader was curious about the mentality of the child near him. Hearing the question, Daichi slowly took a breath and after a moment let it out. He wanted to be absolutely sure and careful of the words he was going to say. I read about some of the history of the time before the founding of the village. The warring era. A time when everyone fought each other with no mercy. Anyone who wasn't one of them was considered an enemy and would be killed. Even children. Daichi paused for a moment and continued. But all of that changed when the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan put aside their differences and joined together to form the village. A safe place where their descendants could grow up without fear of death. A place where people could call home and their children could grow up happily. The world followed their example and peace was achieved. Taking a short pause, Daichi continued. Then when several clans all over the land, who wanted to experience that peace joined the village, and each clan working together with the singular goal of protecting the village, it brought harmony. The Hokage turned to look at the child. His face gave away nothing as he listened. And finally, sacrifice. The ninjas giving their lives in battle to preserve the peace and safety of the village. Like the first, second and fourth cages did. Daichi turned to look at the cage. That is what I see when I look at the village. Hiruzen was expressionless as he listened to Daichi's words. He was scrutinizing the boy's chakra throughout the conversation. He couldn't detect a single chakra fluctuation that indicated the child was lying. Otherwise he would have thought the boy was just saying these words to gain his favor or trying to manipulate him using his ideology. But when Daichi looked him in the eyes, he was sure of it. This child, he's not lying. And moreover he understands and embodies the philosophies of the first. Ha 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 ha. For the first time in a long time Hiruzen let out a hearty laugh. Daichi was a bit flabbergasted as he looked at the laughing old man. Lord Hokage. He didn't get an answer. Hiruzen had a grin on his face as he stopped laughing. What is your name? Daichi Hekima. What do you want to be in the future? At this question Daichi grew a grin that matched the cage. I'm gonna be a ninja. Are you joining this year? Hiruzen asked. No. Next year, was the reply. Both of them had a smile and turned to look towards the village. Both of them standing in comfortable silence. Thinking about the conversation. The first Hokage was someone who thought the same. It was his philosophy. Peace through cooperation. It was a lesson he passed down to me, to his clan and to the village. Hiruzen didn't say anything more. At that moment he made an important decision regarding the future of the village. Itachi had a kind, innocent and gentle heart, but this world took that from him before he could even reach puberty. I won't let that happen again. As Daichi looked on he suddenly remembered the things he had to do and buy. And the simple quest he had to complete. Lord Hokage, I promised my grandfather I would get home soon. May I be excused? Hiruzen smiled. Yes. Get home safely Daichi. He watched Daichi leave with a smile on his face. Genma. He called out. A shinobi wearing the standard Jonin uniform appeared behind him. He was one of the Hokage guards tasked with watching and protecting him all day. What do you make of him? The old man asked, wanting to know his shinobi's impression of the boy. He is unusual. Based on his chakra, he's definitely a civilian. But his control over his emotions is better than the average adult who doesn't have any training. But I couldn't detect any deception in his words. And he doesn't speak like a child his age. It's the way he spoke about the topic. To me it felt as if I was listening to an adult. Genma took a pause and then continued. Language resources. And it seems he can understand complex concepts that would baffle even some. There is a great possibility he could be a genius. But it would depend on his performance in the academy to determine that. Hiruzen nodded to the assessment. Find out everything you can about the boy. I want that information within 24 hours. Yes, sir. With those words Genma vanished. If the next generation is anything like him, then when the time comes for me to depart this world I'll be happy knowing that the village will be in good hands. I'll go see Naruto and take him out for some ramen. With that the Hokage started making his way to Naruto's home. Daichi got down the steps and reached the base of the mountain. He took a look back at the mountain faces, put on his sunglasses and then turned around and walked. His next destination was the Yamanaka flower store. his mind running a mile a minute, going through every word and every instance of the conversation he just had with the most powerful person currently in the village. Daichi only now dismissed the several notifications that were in front of him. I can't believe it worked. I was able to gain his attention in a good way. Now when I join the academy I won't have to hold back much. I won't show everything, but I'll definitely take the top spot every year by a good margin. And if any unsavory characters like Danzo comes after me, the Hokage would be more motivated than usual to shield me. After all, in his eyes I just became a promising talent that holds the values and ideals of him and his teachers. He mistook my mental maturity for genius talent. The same mistake Kensai made. One of the many perks of having a child body, I suppose. People rarely take you as a threat. Daichi was cunning. Every move he made, every word he spoke, since the instant he recognized the cage, was careful and calculated. The WIS stat increase proved it to him. Daichi knew the old cage had a kind heart and a soft spot for children, so he used that information to his advantage. After that conversation he will be more than curious. He'll definitely send someone to investigate me. Probably one of the guards following him. I wasn't expecting the Hokage's platoon to be there, but it's alright. They'll start with the orphanage and Aiko. But I don't think there will be a problem. Based on the memories I have of before my awakening, I was still smart. Maybe not genius level, but I definitely learned things at a much faster rate than the other children. And Aiko has a good opinion of me. And since I only got adopted yesterday, I doubt they'd bother the old man. There is also a chance they'll trace my steps to the library. No, they definitely will do it. And they'll find the books I've read. Daichi thought about the gamble he just took and the reasons for doing it. If I didn't have the gamer's mind to keep my emotions in check, I don't think I could have pulled it off. And I wouldn't even have tried it. He's a censor shinobi, from what I can remember. And a good one at that. So I needed a calm mind to make this work, and I did tell him the truth. I just didn't tell him the whole truth. But nor did I lie to him. He walked the road looking all around him. The people, both ninjas and civilians. He saw the smiles on their faces as they chatted with their friends, families, neighbors, teammates. He looked at the team of genin that passed him by. Every word I said was what I truly believed about the village. But the last part, sacrifice. I know the ninjas of this village are willing to give their lives to protect this place. Well, most of them anyway. But that's not the case for me. I'm not going to sacrifice my life for this village. But I couldn't tell him that. He just assumed it would be something I would definitely do based on my words. This is my second chance. I want to be a little selfish. Is that so wrong? I want to live a long life. Enjoy everything this world has to offer. There is a good chance that when I'm strong enough and dealt with the coming threats, I'll leave this village and travel the world. But until that day comes, I'll need as much protection as I can get. What I did, it was necessary. But I hope this won't have any negative consequences in the future.